Good evening, I'm Dakota Makris. As the 2021 SOAR Summit comes to a close today at the Corbin Arena, another important topic impacting Appalachians was discussed: internet access and the lack thereof for Kentuckians throughout the state. WIMT's Vivica Grayson explains how the project Kentucky Wired can change this.
Panel leaders say inconsistent and in some cases a lack of internet access will soon no longer be an issue for Kentuckians. As beautiful as Eastern Kentucky is, an ongoing problem still lingers: lack of internet access, an issue impactful now more than ever.
I think we all understand now, especially through COVID, with all of us having to work remotely, go to school remotely, try to make a living remotely, that the need for broadband has got to be primary going forward.
Hampton and 4 other panelists discussed and addressed its widespread inconvenience at the 2021 SOAR Summit, highlighting Kentucky Wired as a pivotal source.
Is the backbone, if you will, that was started several years ago under Governor Steve Beshear's administration. And so what that's trying to do is just open the door for providers to hook up, whether it's for schools, for local governments, for businesses, and for residents.
A potential solution to an ongoing problem.
I think something that we all need to keep in mind as we move forward on these projects is that it's not just about accessibility, it's also about the affordability.
And while there may be challenges along the way,
we have a very challenging geography, as gorgeous as it is. And so that's something that's got to be worked around. I think with the technology advancing as fast as it is, we've already shown that we can do that.
The implementation of high-speed broadband through fiber now will be around for generations to come.
I have no doubt, all the faith in the world in Eastern Kentucky, that we will figure out how to do it.
Join me in giving a round of applause to this panel. Thank you for your time and your expertise, and good luck.
Now, as the 2021 SOAR Summit comes to a close, panel leaders say this year's summit was a success, and the future of not only Eastern Kentucky but Appalachia looks bright. In Corbin, Vivica Grayson, WIMT Mountain News.
Well, Hampton says at the state level, more than $300 million and more than $65 billion at the federal level were allocated in funding.
Well, we've been watching some of the clouds from earlier work on out, but more are on the way in as we head into later on tonight. Our time-lapse camera from I-64 at Moorhead showing us, well, we've seen some of those fair weather clouds starting to try to build up a little bit higher in the atmosphere, giving an indication we're seeing a little bit more instability work in. Buffalo Mountain camera, though, beautiful sunset in progress. Well, the sun is setting. We're not quite to the orange and blues phase yet of the sunset, but it's on the way before too long. Not far from 80 right now. In fact, most of us are sitting within a couple degrees of 80 at this time. So it has been another warm day in the mountains with more on the way. Dew points very muggy out there for at least mid-October standards. Mid and upper 60s dew points. Once you get above 60, that's when you start to feel it. When you get near 70, that's basically like summer, and it still feels like summer outside. Satellite and radar, we're getting a little bit of a break in the cloud cover for now, but more's on the way in as we head later on into tonight. So keep that WIMT weather app handy, because as those clouds move in, our temperatures will start to level off. We will stay in those low to mid 60s for overnight lows tonight. There will come a time in the next few days where 65 is warmer than our forecast high, and I'll have the details on that coming up in just a bit. Dakota.
All right, Evan, thank you. 3 days of testimony, 2.5 hours of closing arguments, and now 5 hours of jury deliberations in the trial against a former UK freshman. Now a jury is deciding whether to convict Jacob Heil in the death of Marco Shimwell. Heil is charged with reckless homicide after prosecutors say he hit the 4-year-old with his car 3 years ago. It happened near Kroger Field during a UK football game in 2018. Defense attorneys are asking jurors to make a decision based on facts.
Cases can't be decided on emotion. Not one witness came in and said he was impaired.
Now the jury began deliberations this morning. Today in Johnson County, a need was met for one local fire and rescue squad after a local electric cooperative donated a truck to add to the squad's fleet. Our Jordan Mullins has more from WR Castle Fire and Rescue and how the Big Sandy Rural Electric Cooperative helped not just the squad, but the entire community for years to come.
After WR Castle Fire and Rescue near Paintsville in Johnson County realized a need, the squad reached out for help.
Over the last few years, we've just seen more need for a four-wheel drive vehicle for our department to get out there to the forest fires, to get out in severe weather. We had the severe cold weather and the ice and snow this past winter.
The squad reached out to Big Sandy RECC to ask for a truck the company was not using. Fortunately, the company came through in a big way.
We heard that they had a need, and we had something that they needed, and we was more than happy, and really appreciate the opportunity for us to be able to give them the truck.
Donating a 2001 Chevy Silverado for the rescue squad and for the betterment of the entire community.
We know those linemen are out there, so we're kind of different sides of the same coin in terms of being out there to serve the community, and so they found a great way to help us out with our part of it, and of course we're always there to help them as well.
Showing thanks to those who risk their lives to keep others safe.
Take your hat off to all our volunteer fire departments. Without them, our communities would be in so much worse shape than what we are.
And making sure our volunteer firemen never go without. In Johnson County, Jordan Mullins, WIMT Mountain News.
Now, officials say the truck does need a bit of a makeover with new decals and lights for the fire and rescue squad. Now, they also said even though the truck is 20 years old, it has been taken care of and has plenty of life left to serve the community for years to come. President Joe Biden says the number of unvaccinated Americans, 66 million, is still too high. The president credits employer mandates for driving the latest surge in COVID-19 shots. The Labor Department is expected to issue an emergency rule soon for businesses with 100 or more workers to implement vaccine requirements or regular testing. Despite COVID-19 cases declining, protocols still remain in place in many Kentucky schools. Some parents in Estill County do not seem to agree with them. The school board says they have seen an increase in abusive language from parents to school employees over COVID measures. Most threats have been limited to calls for emails, but at least one disruption took place in person.
Basically misused the trust that an individual had with them to gain access to the building, and then caused a scene at our high school.
Well, school leaders are encouraging educators, if they feel they are being threatened, to hang up on the caller, ask the individual to leave the school, or call police. A couple of newlyweds in Chicago are blaming Southwest Airlines for most of their family missing their wedding. Kimberly and Kyle got married last Saturday in Las Vegas. Their family is expected to fly in to attend the ceremony. But Southwest Airlines unexpectedly canceled thousands of flights, including theirs. The new bride said Southwest was rude, disrespectful, and had absolutely no remorse.
I'm more so just looking for like a sincere, authentic apology about what happened, why it happened, and why we weren't informed sooner of these cancellations.
Now, Southwest said the cancellations were due to a number of issues, including bad weather, inadequate staffing, and a problem at their air traffic control center. When you see police or fire or EMS in Kentucky, you're supposed to pull over. It's the law. But a new AAA survey shows first responders are having close calls when they're on the way to a scene. A new survey released by AAA shows that more than 90% of first responders said they've had a close call while working on the side of the road, and almost 70% of them said drivers do not slow down or move over like they should.
Our Cincinnati fleet actually lost a driver the 4th of July weekend, unfortunately.
More officers are killed in traffic-related incidents every single year than are killed by gunfire. It's something that's always in our mind.
Now, AAA says since 2015, more than 1,600 people have been killed when they were hit outside of a disabled vehicle. While shopping at your favorite stores this fall, you may have noticed it's harder to find what you're looking for. Economists say slower shipping and difficulty keeping items on the shelves are both sides of effects of the pandemic, and that could now affect how Halloween lovers are getting into the spooky spirit. Grace Finerman shares why.
Don't know who you will run into.
For Halloween store employees, the spookiest part of the season might not be skeletons or even clowns. It might be the struggle of keeping items on the shelves.
I think people are decorating a lot more this year because we can barely keep decor animatronics, things like that in stock. As soon as we get them, they go out the door.
Kim Mansour is the store manager for Spirit Halloween in Hamburg. She says there are 3 times more purchases this year compared to 2019.
The trick, according to employees who work here, is getting items on the shelves quickly as soon as they come through the front door.
With demand outpacing supply, Mansour says there are shipping changes. Multiple trucks could come a week instead of one big load. Spirit Halloween's absorbing shipping costs instead of raising prices.
The major issue is not the having the product itself. The problem is getting it here.
My friend and I are being Daphne and Velma this evening.
Customers say there's more to pick through in this store, but it's still sparse compared to pre-pandemic years.
It's been absolutely absurd. There's been nothing on the shelves to choose from. I came here and luckily they had what I needed.
For Mansour and staff at Spirit Halloween Hamburg,
we have the normal challenge like everybody else.
Struggles are just a sign of the times. In Lexington, Grace Feinerman, WKYT.
Employees at Spirit Halloween in Hamburg say it's also been tough to hire employees. They say it's harder for seasonal stores as many people are looking for long-term employment. A new leader for the Louisville Zoo is completing his first week on the job. Dan Maloney was selected following a national search back in August. Now, he came to the Louisville from the Jacksonville Zoo and Gardens, where he served as the Deputy Zoo Director for Animal Care, Conservation, and Wellness since 2010. As Zoo Director, he is responsible for shaping the vision and overseeing all employees. Well, coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, the billionaire space race takes heat from Britain's Prince William. We share with you Prince William's concern with climate change.
And we've got sweater weather on the way as we head into the weekend. I'll have the latest on how many rounds of showers we'll have to get through first coming up.
WYMT News app offers alerts on breaking